What's up, everybody? DRJ here, and today I want to talk to you guys about basically my life outside of video games. I've had a lot of people request me to do something like this for a long time, and a few weeks ago I actually posted some a website article, and you guys left a lot of Jesus, ton of questions. So there's no way that I can answer all of those during today's session. So I think I'm going to split up into two-parters. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about why I became a nurse, and then in the second part I'll answer a lot of those questions that you guys put up on my website. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning here. I graduated high school, and like a lot of people, I think that I was overwhelmed at all the possibilities that are there. Trying to decide on a career that you're going to work for the rest of your life seemed like a fairly daunting prospect. I think that, well, there's a couple things. Obviously, I was like, well, I don't really want to work, number one. So there was that. And then two, I just had this idea, of this bad taste in my mouth of thinking I was going to do any one career for the rest of my entire life. Who would want to do something like that? It wasn't me. So, long story short, I actually was briefly in the Air Force for a while. That lasted about 6 months. Came out of that, and I drifted in and out of basically college for many, many years. Till I was about my mid-20s. I'm 30 now, if that gives you any frame of reference. And I think what it ended up helping out the most was I basically just took a simple career course, and that career course forced me to do like what do they call, like a basic values assessment, a variety of almost like personality style tests. But the cool part about it is you answer a lot of these questions, and it recommends a variety of careers or fields to you based on your answers, and it explains why it suggested recommended these fields for you based on those answers, which is pretty cool. But it also recommended a variety of fields to me that I just never considered before. One of those was nursing. I was forced to go out and do a bunch of interviews. I can't remember if I had a job shot or not, although I'd highly recommend that either way. And anyway, after I was all was said and done with this course, I was just shocked. I was like, wow. I was like, nursing? I was like, is that a possibility? And after I did all the work, I was like, wow, that seems like a pretty cool field. So, I mean, the long story, well, short version is, once again, is that, I ended up I became a CNA, which is a nursing assistant, did that for a few years. And I was also doing my prerequisites at the local community college. Then I went on to a private school to finish my last 2 years. So, I mean, I'll tell you guys a little bit about why I got into nursing as opposed to how. I think that I've always wanted to have a life, I guess, separate outside of my work. And one of the most immediately appealing facets of nursing was working 12-hour shifts. I love that you can have work basically 3 12s a week, and then you're done. So right now I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I work 12 hours Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I have Monday through Thursday off. It's incredible. I work 3 days a week, and I have 4 days a week to sit around, stick my thumb on my butt, play video games, do whatever it is I want to do. It's amazing. It feels wonderful. I think that especially when I talk to friends, that have become nurses, or when I talk to them about, say, why did you become a nurse versus, say, an MD or something. I think the most easiest way to define that is people that want to work to live versus live to work. I think a lot of the MDs that I know, whether they went to school to become an MD or whether they were nurses that went back to school to become MDs, they're very focused on wanting to challenge themselves with their career. They want to get as much out of their career as possible. Having their career be their life is not a negative to them. I think one of the girls I talked to that she told me that anybody that she's with, relationship-wise, is going to have to realize that they are not going to be able to have. They're going to have a smaller piece of her than maybe they would like. That there is a large percentage of her that's going to be devoted to her work, and I think that's in my mind, that's a big reason why I specifically chose not to become an MD and wanted to become an RN, is because there's too many things I want to do, and there are so many different things. The idea, like I said, of having any one thing dominate my life, whether it's games, work, or whatever, was just not an option for me. So nursing really lets me do. It gives me that ability to do whatever I want to do in my free time, and I have a lot of it, and it's absolutely amazing. As far as the financial aspects of it go, it was also one of the selling points. Um, yeah, potentially could see myself doing something closer to the lines of teaching or something like that, but they make so little money. Also there is the work schedule, which I didn't like. But anyway, the money is what's the easiest way to put this? West Coast, it's not uncommon to make fairly close to 6 figures getting out of school. Um, you make a little bit over if you want to work an extra shift every other week or something like that. Depending on where you're at in the country, I moved to Oklahoma because it was harder to get jobs on the West Coast, and they make it's about half, a little less than half of what I'd be making if I was back on the West Coast. So it really differs. But the money, the money is definitely there. It's you're definitely not a miser or anything like that. Um, the other really, really, really cool, the big selling point to me is the ability, like I said, well, one of those things that turned me off from basically wanting to choose a career path was thinking that I'd be locked into one single path the rest of my life. And with nursing, that is just going to be farther from the truth. You can work on, there's no shortage of different units you can work on. You want to work ICU, do you want to work PACU, do you want to work cardiac, do you want to work mental health, do you want to work with old people, do you want to work with young people, do you want to work on the same unit every day, do you want to go to work every day working on a different unit, do you want to teach, do you want to educate, do you want to do policies and procedures. All of these are options within nursing, and it's not difficult to transfer over once you're in there. So many different options. To me it's so cool. You will never ever be bored, and if you do get bored, you get the option to basically go somewhere and specialize in something else, which is incredible. There's also what they call advanced nursing degrees. Right now these are a variety of master's and doctorate equivalent programs. They're on the transition of switching over to doctorate programs by such and such a year. I can't remember what it is, 2015, 2016. Might depend on the actual degree. CRNA, Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist. Then there's a nurse midwife. And then there's nurse practitioner, which are filling a variety of different roles similar to a family practitioner, gen ed, basically. And then what's the other one? Clinical nurse specialist, which is a lot of policies and procedures typically. So those are advanced degrees, which if you want to go back to school, make more money, have more responsibility, that's an option to do as well. Because of all of these reasons, like I said, nursing was a very attractive field to go into. And you also get, well, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but the experience that you get from working with somebody in a very vulnerable and intimate, relationship that you have with a patient healthcare provider is something that is extraordinarily unique, and that once you experience that for the first time, it's you wonder how people function, not having something like that on a day-to-day basis, because it feels so amazing to be able to work with somebody in, like I said, such a unique environment that you are, and to walk away from that, and whether or not it's a successful experience, it is, it can be very, very gratifying, very satisfying. It can also be very sad, obviously, depending on what happens, but it can be very emotional regardless. But it definitely satisfies another, I feel like, part of my my personality, or my just part of me. So it's funny because it's actually a similar feeling that I get when I talk to people about the video game stuff. When I get messages, when somebody says something like, they laughed so hard they fell out of a chair, and I feel great. I'm like, awesome, that's fantastic. It feels amazing to know that somebody watched something that I created and they laughed so hard they broke their chair. And then you've got related, you have the dialogue created around the idea of making making better video games, which is trying to get people to think about what makes a good game good, bad games bad, and get people to talk about this. And they get people sending me messages or leaving comments saying that they've talked to so and so, and these ideas have blown their minds, and it's really cool, and they're hoping that they're going to tell everybody that they can. Hope that it changes things for the best in the future. Very, very, very satisfying feels wonderful. And like I said, it's a similar experience to helping somebody out in a healthcare setting and walking away from that just being like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, what a privilege and obviously big responsibility to work with somebody in that kind of situation. I think that there is obviously a phenomenal amount of responsibility, especially depending on your job. A lot of maturity that's required, and education for all sorts of different reasons. And it's not an easy thing to do, but like I said, it feels so good at the end of the day. Also, like I said, my life at this point, it feels so much surreal. I work on the weekends. I work 3 days a week, and 4 days a week I can do whatever I want, and that typically involves spending time with the significant other, and then playing video games, playing with my dog. I don't know. I mean, going camping, making YouTube videos, whatever it is that I want to do. Reading books. Jesus Christ, I love to read. I read so much. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, insert fun activity here. You have the time to do it. And like I said, work to live versus live to work, I think is one of the big distinctions between choosing MD versus RN or something similar to RN. Like I said, I can't say enough about how happy I am, I guess, right now with everything that's going on, especially as far as the YouTube stuff goes. I think it's fantastic to actually have a job that supports me outside of the YouTube world. I mean, I don't make any money off of the YouTube stuff yet, or very, very little. And so that, to me, is really satisfying, because that eliminates that potential source of like financial bias, which would possibly alter the type of content that I'm willing to put out. If I was doing it for a living, and whatever, you have your COD videos that get 100,000 views, and you get anything else that gets 10,000, it would be really hard not to play a lot of COD. And I feel like I'm fortunate enough not to be in that position. So like I said, just sort of to wrap up, to me the biggest thing, like I said, is that satisfaction you get from working, like I said, with that intimate, sort of vulnerable position with somebody. A lot of responsibility, but it feels fantastic. You have an amazing work schedule, which gives you so much free time to do whatever it is you want to do. And then the opportunities for advancement, both basically vertical and laterally. Laterally, I would talk about basically not necessarily making more money, but doing something else. And vertical, I feel like, would be climbing that ladder of climbing that, what do you call it, financial ladder or something like that. More responsibility, more money. Those to me are the biggest reasons why I became a nurse. But like I said, I feel like I stumbled on this career via taking that career path, and it's not uncommon at all, I feel like, to find yourself in the situation that I did, which is all these possibilities. You don't know what you want to do. To anybody out there that's trying to figure out what to do, I wouldn't blindly recommend you become a nurse or anything like that. I think it's an awesome field. I couldn't be happier, but probably just recommend taking a career course is the best thing I can do, and you figure out what works for you. I don't think school is one of those things that you can't force somebody into it. I have way too many friends that felt like they were pressured into it, got out of school, went back a few years later to do something they really wanted to do. It's a really, really tough situation. It's the rest of your life, it's a lot of money, all sorts of other things, and it's really tough to figure out what you want to do. But like I said, I think the best way to do that is like I said, to figure out what you want to do first, which seems like a no-brainer, but when you're pressured from so many different angles, it's not as easy as it sounds. So like I said, I'm really big on the career courses because it helped me so much, and they're often free. And then, like I said, if you're still not sure after that, just don't rush it. It's not, I don't know, it's not the end of the world if you don't go to school when you're 18, although I know it really feels like that when you're getting out of high school. Jesus, I graduated 12 years ago now. It feels so weird saying that. And I still feel like I remember like it was yesterday. So I understand all those social pressures to do what everybody else is doing and not feel like a loser or something, but it's the rest of your life, and it's it's not an easy decision. It's something that shouldn't be considered lightly. So, like I said, I don't know. Do what you want to do, not what somebody else wants you to do. And it's frustrating because I know you get, you know, like I said, you have financial, maybe you have a scholarship offer, so it's kind of forcing you to do something now. Maybe you have, you know, parents that are trying to tell you something. Maybe you have friends that are, you know, going somewhere, or a girlfriend that's going somewhere, and there's all these different factors to take into consideration. It's never quite so simple. But, or boyfriend, I suppose, although it's like 3% of my viewing populace. So anyway, it's a huge decision. Like I said, career courses is what I recommend, oftentimes free, and that is how I got into doing what I'm doing. So like I said, basically a week from now I'll be answering a lot of those questions that I got on my website. Feel free to throw up any last minute suggestions there, and I'll see what happens. As always, comments, criticisms, critiques, let me know what you guys think.